Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pushtaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pachaline Nivasisha Shunyavhari Pashtatara Satarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Shri Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. So we are continuing Bhagavad Gita, chapter 14, entitled The Free Modes of Material Nature. And last Monday, we did have a reading, and we finished on text 12, unless I'm mistaken. I think that was it. I just checked as well, so that's correct. So 1 second. Oh, what can you see? I guess you can't see Bhagavad. 1 second. Let me try again. Hare Krishna. Let me try again. Share. Documents, screens. Okay. Something's happening here. 1 second. Okay, just opening Bhagavad Gita. Try again. Okay. Okay, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. You should see Bhagavad Gita. Yes? Jai. Great. Fantastic. Hare Krishna. Okay, so chapter 14, text 13, where we are on. Anyone who's not many of us here, Gopi Gita, Mavalutta, Kumari Priya, anything which we remember from last week's reading or anything at all about what we read in this chapter? Any highlights so far? Anything?
Three modes of
What?
material nature.
Yeah, three modes of material nature. So that consists of everything in the material world. So if you look at the material energy close, it only consists of the three modes of material nature. Everything, even the body, gross and subtle. Yeah. Something else, Mother Luther? What's the best mode?
Uh, the best mode is goodness, and it is when we get knowledge and feeling happiness.
Yeah, very good. That's just here. If you see on where we just let me here. Go back here. Those are mode of goodness. Yeah, here. Um, oh, where is it? Yeah, person in mode of goodness. No, I was looking for something else. Is satisfied. So they're satisfied by their specific pursuit, maybe of intellectual knowledge. They may be an educator. There's something else I just saw. I was just reading about the mode of goodness that one can understand things in the correct way. Everything's more clear. One's perception is more clear. One's immediate perception of things and events and etc. Everything's more clearer. The mode of passion, everything's a bit hazy. And the mode of ignorance, everything's just more or less darkness. Yeah. Welcome over Jambavati's house, Hare Krishna. Yeah, something about the mode of passion.
Repetitive activities and passion and desire, attachment, something like that.
Yeah. Design never satisfied. Yeah, the mode of passion, one is never satisfied here in text 12. when there's increasing mode of passion, the symptoms of great attachment. So that's material attachment. So we're supposed to be greatly attached to Krishna. But in the mode of passion, one is greatly attached to getting the results of their fruitive activity very intensely. Yeah. So that therefore there's intense endeavor. And it's really nicely described by Krishna, the uncontrollable desire. They are victimized by desire and always hankering. This verse 12 explains it very clearly. Yeah. Okay, that's a mode of goodness and a mode of passion. Something about the mode of ignorance. We will hear more, but Hare Krishna Chandravali.
Hare Krishna.
The mode of ignorance, something about the mode of ignorance. I'm just looking myself, excuse me, I'm scrolling around here. Here's just going back, have a look at text 8. The mode of darkness born of ignorance is the delusion of all embodied living entities. So one is completely deluded by the spell of the mode of ignorance. And the results, madness, indolence. What does indolence mean? Let's look it up. Avoidance or lazy, avoidance of activity or exertion, laziness. One can't be bothered. One can't be bothered to get out of bed. One can't be bothered to do anything. Sometimes we feel like that, isn't it? I can't be bothered. Perhaps we're being influenced by the mode of ignorance, yeah? And yeah, ignorance and sleep, which bind the conditioned soul. Okay, so let's pick up then from where we left last week, and we're on text 13. Anyone like to read text 13?
I can read.
Go ahead. Thank you, Vavluda. Have a go.
Aprakash,
Go on, carry on.
aprakasho pravritischa pramado moha evacha tamasita nijayante vivridhe kurunandana. When there is an increase in the mode of ignorance or son of Kuru, darkness, inertia, madness, and illusion are manifested. When there is no illumination, knowledge is absent. One in the mode of ignorance does not work by a regulative principle. He wants to act whimsically for no purpose. Even though he has the capacity to work, he makes no endeavor. This is called illusion. Although consciousness is going on, life is inactive. These are the symptoms of one in the mode of ignorance. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, have you heard this saying? I don't know if you heard this saying, but the light is on, but no one is in. Sometimes they say the light is on, but no one's in. And just a request, if devotees, if it's possible, could turn on their camera. Lord has the camera already, if it's possible. It's good to see devotees. Hare Krishna. Yeah, so any questions, comments here, or reflections? It's quite a short verse, quite given in essence. Darkness, inertia, madness, illusion are manifested. And sometimes we can see it quite clearly, isn't it? In the world around us, some people, we can learn from here. We can easily identify what mode is prominent. Although there, as we read previously, one mode is always is dominant, then another mode is dominant. And there's always, you could say, competition between one mode and another, but there will be one mode which particularly governs one's life. Yeah. So for instance, someone is working very intensely, they're generally their life for intense, they're very attached, so they're very much in a mode of passion. Sometimes they may go for a walk on the beach and be a bit chilled out sometimes, but generally their lifestyle demands and influences them to be passionate. Someone in the mode of ignorance as well. Generally, they're, someone who's generally promptly in the mode of ignorance. I think I gave the example last week where I saw a homeless person washing their clothes and hanging it on the line outside their tent here. So they're doing something which is sattvic, although their life, their existence is generally in a mode of ignorance. So that's prominent, a mode of ignorance. Yeah. Okay. So we also, it's good for us, as we read in the beginning, it's good for us to know very clearly what is the manifestation of the particular modes, just so we can avoid the mode of ignorance and passion. And we can cultivate very, very strongly the mode of goodness. Yeah, this is what this chapter 14 is giving us the education in. And it's very practical, actually. Okay, our goal is love of Godhead, etc. And there's lots that can be said about that, the different stages of bhava and prema, etc. But perhaps this is more relevant for us. This is something in the here and now. This is something which we can learn, and we learn what the symptoms are, and it will help us in our spiritual life in a very practical way. Yeah, perhaps that might be more relevant to us than the symptoms of a Shakti and prema. What's the mode of good? What's the mode of ignorance and passion, and how can I avoid it? Okay, so next, Krishna is going to speak about the destination. So very important. If someone dies, well, everyone's going to die. But the particular mode that they are in as a result of their lifestyle is going to dictate their next life. Yeah, so we're going to hear about that now. Someone like to read text 14?
I can try. Yada sattve pravritti tu pralayam yati dehabrit tadottama vityam lokan amalam pratipadyate. Translation. When one dies in the mode of goodness, he attains to the pure higher planets of the great sages. Purport. One in goodness attains higher planetary system like Brahma Loka or Jana Loka, and there enjoys godly happiness. The word Amalam is significant. It means free from the modes of passion and ignorance. There are impurities in the material world, but the mode of goodness is the purest form of existence in the material world. There are different kinds of planets for different kinds of living entities. Those who die in the mode of goodness are elevated to the planets where great sages, great devotees live.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any reflections or comments here? Or questions? I would say that you're not going to see this so often. You might see it more in persons who are very dharmic, and they're aware of some type of spiritual principles in life, and they're religious. Sometimes you meet people like that, especially you may meet them in India, actually. When I was last in India, we was there, and you meet some people who come from that Pacific culture, and they're so polite, they're so respectful, and and they're theistic, so they may not be sadhakas, they may be worshipping different devas. Sometimes you meet such people, and they're very sattvic. They're very strongly situated in the mode of goodness, but they're still they may not be practicing Krishna consciousness. So I would say these are the type of persons who may well be elevated in the next life. They're very charitable, they're very conscientious, but they're still attached to the material world. So then if they die, then they will, well, if they die or when they die, if they would go to the planets of the great sages. Great sage where those who die in the mode of goodness are elevated to the planets where great sages and great devotees live. So there's great devotees that live in the higher planets. Hare Krishna. No one like to go to the higher planets?
No.
Well, they go to Goloka.
You have to come back.
Yeah. Bhagavatam teaches this from the highest planet, or Bhagavad Gita, from the highest planet down to the lowest, all are repeated places, or all are places of misery, or all are places where repeated birth and death. Srimad Bhagavatam says, the intelligent person, Kovida, should endeavor only for that purposeful end, which is not obtained by going from the topmost planet down to the lowest planet. So anyone, and Krishna will, this is chapter 14, we described in chapter 18, no, chapter 8, I think, it's called Attaining the Supreme. So as devotees, we've got our eyes set, not on the material world, but on Krishna's abode. Still, here it's given some, I guess it's a bit positive, those who lead a sattvic life. I'm saying you don't see it much. You're not going to see it much. You're going to not see it much in places where religion is not prominent. Where dharmic, where dharma, where a strong sense of dharma is not prominent. Most people are going to be, Prabhupada said, most people are going to take birth as animals. Most materialistic persons. They're dangerously, or they're in a mode of passion, or society is predominantly passionate. Hare Krishna.
I was thinking something. Most Indians are kind of pious. Well, some are.
Yeah,
so
some.
What happens? They go.
You always say it again?
Do they go to heavenly planets?
Well, that's what it seems to say here.
One
in goodness. So I was just
goodness, yeah.
I was just clarifying that this mode of goodness, it's generally, the mode of goodness means that one has some religious practice. And they're and from that religious practice, then they're very and they live by certain principles, and they're very charitable, etc. So yes, although India is becoming very much like the rest of the world, still you're going to find some persons who are very sattvic. Yeah, and it could be a whole discussion, because sometimes a sattvic Indian person from India is very sattvic, and someone who takes up Krishna consciousness from the West, coming from the mode of ignorance and passion, they may not have all the qualities that are naturally manifest in someone who is sattvic. But their sincerity and their practice of bhakti, of a Krishna consciousness, is often much stronger than a person who's very pious. They're very pious, so they come to the temple, they give some charity, but they're very much attached. Whereas someone may be joining Krishna consciousness and coming from a lifestyle of ignorance and passion, and may bring with them quite a bit of baggage. Notice that. So sometimes you may see some devotees may not behaving as nicely as a sattvic guest. But in due course of time, because the devotees' practice of bhakti, they're ultimately gonna, and the lifestyle they take up, ultimately they're gonna, they're gonna be free from the influence of the modes. Because sometimes you see that someone who's in sattvic, in sattva, as we described here, I think we described it earlier, everything's okay, everything's working for them, so they don't see a particular need, or they're really not suffering. Well, they think they're not suffering, and so they're not on the intense quest to break free from birth and death. They're just very sattvic. So that's where the mode of goodness can be a bind. I think we spoke about that before. Yeah, sometimes as devotees, this is the mode that we have to look out for, because we know how to move in this world and we know how to act in this world. Hopefully, we know how to interact in a mode of goodness. So therefore, we may be very well situated and become kind of subtly attached. Anyway, let's read on. Let's read more about the mode of passion. So, okay, someone like to read this verse here. So where does someone in the mode of passion? So what's their next life? Go on, Carrie. Someone like to read? Going once, going twice, going 3 times. Okay, I'm jumping. Rajashi palayam gatva kama sangishu jayate tata palinastash tamasi muttayonishu jayate tamasi. Okay, interesting. Okay, when one dies in a mode of passion, he takes birth among those engaged in fruitive activities. And when one dies in a mode of ignorance, he takes birth in the animal kingdom. Okay. Purple. Some people have the impression that when the soul reaches a platform of human life, it never goes down again. This is incorrect. According to this verse, if one develops the mode of ignorance after his death, he's degraded to an animal form of life. From there, one has to again elevate himself by evolutionary process to come again to the human form of life. Therefore, those who are actually serious about human life should take to the mode of goodness and in good association, transcend the modes and become situated in Krishna consciousness. This is the aim of human life. Otherwise, there is no guarantee that the human being will again attain to the human status. Okay. So many people you meet or see going about your daily activities, they are heading towards the animal species of life. Yeah? Because they're, because of the mode of ignorance. Of course, they don't know that. Yeah. So it's very, very, very precarious lifestyle of very precarious. That's why Srila Prabhupada was very sometimes he would just look at people and tears would come from his eyes. There's a famous story when he was here in London, and he was apparently, as I hear it, he was in a car being driven down Oxford Street, as I heard it, and he was seeing everyone, the crazed shoppers, and tears were coming from his eyes. He was seeing their plight, next life. Of course, people are so ignorant that, oh, I know, I don't mind taking birth as a cat or a dog, or bird. They have all these they have this weird understanding, Anyway, any questions or comments?
I was thinking, they say if that soul is going to take a life of a cat, they kind of get that kind of training, don't they, to be in that body?
Yeah, what type of training would that look like?
Yeah. I was just thinking. So when they say they're happy being a cat or a pig or whatever, like that story of Indra being happy in his pig life,
Yeah, store in Indra, yeah.
Conditioned to be happy in that body. That's what I'm thinking. So they don't really want to get out.
Yeah, that's the avaranatmika and prakshatmika, two aspects of the external energy. That it covers one over, it covers one's knowledge over. It covers and it pulls one down, or it pulls one down and covers one's knowledge. So he gave the good example of Indra, the king of heaven. He took birth as a hog and he was quite comfortable, wallowing in the mud,
Yeah.
eating the refuse because he had a body which suited that. So he wasn't so inclined to regain his position again in the heavenly planets. I think Lord Brahma then he kind of stepped in and took the head off his big body. But yeah, that's the danger. It's like a spell. One's actually under a spell where one doesn't realize. Yeah. So it's quite dangerous. Yeah. That's why Prabhupada is saying here, those who are actually serious about the human form of life should take to the mode of goodness. Yeah.
And on the other hand, you could get a human body next life and you could quite misuse it again, And then you're back to
Yeah.
cycle of
Yes.
birth again. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very the material energy is very powerful. So even if you get a human form in the next life, even if it's sattvic one, there's a good chance that you may be overcome in your life, especially if you get into a wrong association. Yeah, then you may take up and be influenced and take up as a passionate lifestyle or the mode of ignorance. So therefore, this is material life. Sometimes going up to the heavenly planets, staying for some time, then coming down again to the earthly realm. Then in the earthly realm, one again takes up religious activities. One goes up the heavenly planets again. Then one comes down again. Then one associates with persons in the mode of passion. Then they take birth as human beings on planet Earth. Then they take birth again. They go to and then they take birth again, they get into association with those mode of ignorance, and they go down to the hellish planets. They go down, or they take birth in the animal species. Then after millions of lifetimes in a different animal species, again, they take the human form of birth. Then in the human form of birth, they become religious. But then they associate with persons who are not religious, and they start taking up irreligious activities. They start to become envious and mischievous, become attached, and then start drinking alcohol, and then start to abuse people. Then they take birth in the hellish planets, not just. Then they may come up again eventually after how long in the hellish planets. Then they come up again to the animal species. Then in animal species, they again take birth. They get another chance, another human birth again. Then they blow it again. They get into the wrong association again. And they go down as the animal species again. So this is material existence. Samsara dava, nadadida loka, all by the influence of the modes of material nature. That's why it said this chapter is very important, because if we understand this, we can get a chance to break out of the cycle of birth and death. So yeah, this is samsara. Sometimes being rich, sometimes being poor, sometimes being wretched, sometimes being a diseased body, male body, female body, etc., etc. Yeah. All right, let's
Can I
yeah.
ask another question? Like I have very good neighbors. So they are Jain. So yesterday they did a program for their Jain thing, and really spend a lot of time cooking excellent. So then anyway, I said to them, put it all out and just say the Mahamantra a few times, like offer it to Krishna. Just offer it. So he distributed prasad. So, okay, so that kind of people, what kind of life would they get? So the piety is there, right?
Yeah.
But not Krishna and Krishna conscious is in their own. Jain is, who is it? Is it Rishabh Dev? No, Jain is, I don't
Say
know.
again.
Jain people. I don't know what.
Janes. Okay, the Jane.
Yeah. So yeah, we won't cook onion, garlic, potatoes, whatever. So nice feast, but it's just. So I asked them offer it before you give. So I said to them, "Are you doing so well? So offer prasad to everybody. If you just offer it to, I didn't say Krishna. I said just say this mantra.
Yeah. So
So
that's what we're
what life do
discussing.
they get? They get this piety. So it's piety, right? But it's not in Krishna conscious. So what would they?
That's what we're speaking about this in Sudha Bhakti Chintamani readings that we're doing. So this is the relationship between material piety and how, although material piety is not itself the cause of bhakti, material piety can often be advantageous because they may, like, for instance, because they're pious, then they develop a friendship with you as a devotee, and then you're giving them and you're telling them to offer their food to Krishna. And because they're pious, then they're going to do it.
Mm,
They're going to do it. So they're doing devotional service then. Yeah, so that's bhakti on, oh, so they know what they're doing, but they may not fully understand the power of bhakti. So that's why pious persons can sometimes take to bhakti. So it's not because of their material piety, it's because being materially pious, they actually do some devotional service. They may actually give charity to a devotee, or even further than that, they're chanting Hare Krishna and they're offering their food to Krishna and they're going to distribute that. So that's like amazing benefit that they're actually going to get. I don't think they actually
realize it.
realize what they're doing. That you should tell them, perhaps not, but you might think that you might tell them the this is the beginning of the end of your material life.
I think better not say things like that.
Better not, as
They're
they
all
might,
professionals.
yeah, they might refuse to associate with their Hare Krishna fanatic next door neighbor. But that's how it works. That's how it works. That's how people acquire devotional piety, bhakti om mukhi sukriti. So in the next life, they're going to be guided by the super soul within the heart. They're going to feel very familiar with devotees, very like unconsciously attracted. Yeah,
Mm,
something subliminal within their heart of hearts will bring them to the association of devotees and they'll be attracted. Yeah, I'm sure most of us probably felt that before we took up Krishna consciousness. There may have well been a specific attraction. So that Krishna from within their heart will give them that subtle remembrance. And I mean, it won't be gross, it'll be very subtle and very fine, where they find themselves quite easily feeling comfortable with the devotees of the Lord. Yeah.
good.
And they take up. Yeah. Yeah. Often we're planting seeds. It may not be in this life, or it may be, but it may not be in this life that those who we meet and preach to take or become sadhakas, but it may be in the next life. Just
Right.
like we were, perhaps in our last life, then we were exactly like those people. And in this life,
Mm,
got the principles of bhakti.
mm,
Sometimes it may be even that I think we read in Sudha Bhakti Chintamani where someone, for example, like a devotee may, um, they may give someone a book or may bring someone to Krishna consciousness, and then later they themselves become distracted from Krishna consciousness. But the persons who they gave a book to or introduced to Krishna consciousness become more advanced than what they are. Sometimes it
mm,
happens like that. That the person who preached to them becomes distracted at some point for various reasons, but the person who they introduced becomes very, we could say the word fired up, and dedicates their whole life to Krishna consciousness. It's all very individual how it happens. This is all Sudha Bhakti Chintamani, it's sort of describing at the moment.
Right.
Yeah. Who else was Kumari Priya? Claudia, welcome. Claudia, haven't seen you before. Welcome, Hare Krishna. Rama Gendria. Excuse me for mispronouncing. Any other questions here from anyone? Something in the chat, 1 second. Hare Krishna. All right, let's read on about the material world. Oh, what was that? Hare Krishna. All right, someone like to read text 16, bit of a lengthy purple.
Hare Krishna, I can read.
Yeah, thank you, Mother Kumari Priya. Go ahead.
16, yeah.
16, yes.
Sanskrit as well?
Yeah, go ahead. Have a try.
Karmana sukritasya hu Satvikam nirmalam palam Rajasastu palam dukham Ajnanam tamasa palam. The result of pious action is pure and is said to be in a mode of goodness, but action done in a mode of passion results in misery. An action performed in a mode of ignorance results in foolishness. The result of pious activities in a mode of goodness is pure. Therefore, the sages who are free from all illusion are situated in a happiness, but activities in a mode of passion are simply miserable. Any activity for material happiness is bound to be defeated. If, for example, one wants to have a skyscraper, so much human misery has to be undergone before a big skyscraper can be built. The financier has to take much trouble to earn a mass of wealth, and those who are slaving to construct a building have a render physical toll. The miseries are those. Thus Bhagavad Gita says, in any activity performed under the spell of a mode of passion, there is definitely great misery. There may be a little so-called mental happiness. I have this house or this money, but this is not actual happiness. As far as the mode of ignorance is concerned, the performer is without knowledge, and for all his activities result in present misery, and afterwards he will go on towards animal life. Animal life is always miserable, held under the spell of illusory energy Maya. Animals don't understand this. Slaughtering poor animals is also due to the mode of ignorance. The animal killers don't know what in the future the animal will have a body suitable to kill them. That's a law of nature. In human society, if one kills a man, he has to be hanged. That is a law of a state. Because of ignorance, people don't perceive that there is a complete state controlled by the Supreme Lord. Every living creature is a son of the Supreme Lord, and he doesn't tolerate even an ant being killed. One has to pay for it. So indulgence in animal killing for a taste of a tongue is the grossest kind of ignorance. A human being has no need to kill animals because God has supplied so many nice things. If one indulges in a meat eating anyway, it's to be understood that he is acting in ignorance and is making his future very dark. Of all kinds of animal killing, the killing of cows is most vicious, because the cow gives us all kinds of pleasure by supplying milk. Cow slaughter is an act of grossest type of ignorance. In the Vedic literature, Rig Veda 9:46-4, the words Kopiha.
Oh, sorry, too fast. Sorry.
Kopiha Prinita Matsaram indicate what one who, being fully satisfied by milk, is desirous of killing the cow is in the grossest ignorance. There is also a prayer in the Vedic literature what states, Namo Brahmanya Devaya Go Brahmana Hitaya Cha Jagat Ditaya Krishnaya Govindaya Namo Namaha. My Lord, you are well-wisher of all the cows and the brahmanas, and you are a well-wisher of the entire human society and world. Vishnu Purana 1.1965. The purport is what special mention is given in that prayer for a protection of the cows and the brahmanas. Brahmanas are a symbol of spiritual education, and cows are a symbol of most valuable food. Thus, to living creatures, the brahmanas and the cows must be given all protection. That's real advancement and of civilization. In modern human society, spiritual knowledge is neglected and cow killing is encouraged. It's to be understood what the human society is advancing in a wrong direction and is clearing the path to its own redemption, a civilization which guides the citizens to become animals in their next life is certainly not a human civilization. The present human civilization is, of course, grossly misled by the modes of passion and ignorance. It's a very dangerous age, and all nations should take care to provide the easiest process, Krishna consciousness, to save humanity from a greatest danger.
Wow, thank you. Such a wonderful purport by Srila Prabhupada. Any specific highlights thrown on or any questions or reflections? Giving you time to look, think about this.
Yeah.
It's just nice to see what's explaining here what's very dear to Krishna. So cows and brahmanas, and
Yes.
they always will be have to be protected. Yeah, and that's the worst thing someone can do is actually harm.
Yeah.
And go against it. Just highlights that.
Yeah. Prabhupada mentions that here. Yeah. So persons don't really, they cannot appreciate this. They have no, they have no understanding of Dharma. No understanding of Dharma. But this is what Prabhupada is emphasizing here. This is actually civilization, is to protect the cows and the brahmanas.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
So obviously, because of nowadays there is so much disturbance of the mind and things got worse than previous years. So how we can see what Brahman is actually pure? Like, because obviously there is a lot of, not just in a Krishna consciousness, but obviously there is Brahmanas is different Vedic paths. But how we should, like, what important to see to make sure we are not also misled sometimes?
If I understand your question correctly, you're asking exactly how in this day and age, if I can just reflect back the question, if I understood it, in this day and age, there may be so many persons who are acting in the role of priests or acting in the role of teachers, say of Vedic principles, but they themselves may not be. Is that what you're saying? But they may not be. They may be misleading people.
Yeah, they might not have that qualities, but they still there, like sometimes when we go and order some yagyas, when we go and like for guidance, so what is the baseline we should be thinking? It's not just like in our temple, but in general, because obviously it's changing so much nowadays. Even if you go to India, you meet so many people.
Yeah. So really, actually speaking, most people are going to be compromised in one way or another about, for instance, even the philosophy. If you speak to those who are brahmanas, say, let's say, so-called brahmanas, they will have all types of different philosophical understandings, or they yeah, and they're not going to have a spiritual. Most of them are not going to have a serious spiritual practice. They're not going to have a sadhana. Yeah, they may be just Brahmins as a profession. That's mostly the case. Yeah, there may be brahmanas and actors, priests, or actors, astrologers, etc. Yeah, but they may not be. They generally they're not going to have a specific sadhana or specific strict practice. That's why, really, for guidance, we really want to go to all. We really want to get it from the devotees, those who are situated in a Brahminical lifestyle, but those who are also sadhakas. Because unless one is chanting the holy name, then there's definitely a good chance that they're going to be very much influenced by the modes of material nature and have all different types of desires and material desires, all types of also misunderstanding. So really, if I've understood your question, we really want to be careful who we're going to take guidance from. So we want to take guidance from those who are chanting Hare Krishna and following the regulative principles. Yeah. And they're serious sadhakas. And that's why a lot of people are becoming, I was just thinking the other day how busy our temple is, and it's becoming more busy. And one of the reasons it's becoming more busy is because Krishna consciousness is exploding in India. Not exploding in a negative sense. I think it shattered to pieces, but many hundreds and thousands of persons are now taken to Krishna consciousness in India, and there's so many temples coming up. And a lot of people are attracted to the devotees because they're actually following a very specific lifestyle, which automatically puts them in a mode of goodness. So they're kind of persons they're very attractive to people in general. So a lot of people are taken to Krishna consciousness, at least in that part of the world. So those are the persons we want to take guidance from. Yeah. Yeah, so we have to be a little bit discriminating. It's not like every Brahmana's, not anyone who's professing to be a Brahmana, if they're not a devotee, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're not Brahmanas. There may be some and I'm sure there is some well-practiced Brahmanas are very strict in their sadhana. They may not share the same sadhana as us, chanting 16 rounds, but they're very strict in their specific practice. Like when I was in South India last, we went to one temple and we met the chief priest there. He was a young man. His father passed away, and his father was the spiritual head, and he became the spiritual head, being his son. And we met with him, and he's very strict about his practice. It wasn't the same practice as us, but they're very strict about their study of Vedas and their sattvic lifestyle. So some people may take some guidance. They may get some advantage, but take guidance from those type of brahmanas. They're actually practicing. I don't know if I've answered your question.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I mean, even in Krishna consciousness movement, we have to be a little bit discriminating as well, Who we want to take guidance from. Doesn't mean we should have a critical eye, but we should be intelligent. We will want to take advice and take direction. I don't want from those who are, there's a word that one devotee used to take guidance from substantial Vaishnavas. Those are who we understand are practicing Krishna consciousness very seriously. So I want to take advice from those brahmanas. Yeah. Okay.
Prabhu, can I have one more question?
Yes, please move.
it just something was a little bit on my mind, you know,
Yeah.
when I'm in India and when we go to the temples, like in a group, so, you know, and we can see like we're not locals and everything, you can feel sometimes instead of I want to make a donation, a lot of times, you know, priests sometimes ask for a lot of donations, like more than like when can see, you know, you can give.
Yeah.
And on this occasion, you feel a little bit like, you know, upset because from your heart you want to give as much as you like you want, but sometimes like it becomes like disturbance in your mind when you take a darshan and things like that. How can we stay humble and, you know, not feel like something been taken from us when we have a darshan and, you know, or what's your opinion on that? Just something been thinking of.
Yeah. Anyone else have that experience when you go to India?
Yeah, all the time.
Sometimes it can become quite disheartening, the way that we're, especially coming from the West, having the way that we're set upon by some of these quote unquote so-called, I guess they're priests, you know, and as you're just sharing as well, that it can be so you know, uninspiring that it makes you not feel like giving donation, you know, because the atmosphere and the mood is just not nice, you know. So how to remain humble? Well, it is quite a humbling experience in of itself when you're getting harassed to give money or give more money. So generally, I don't know, other devotees can perhaps share. For myself, I have this thing in India where I want to give donations, but as where I give it and where I'm very sometimes, like for instance, sometimes I'm on Govardhan Paragram, and so many people will come and ask for donations, you know, and almost by force sometimes the kids, you know, whatever. And I'm scared to take out my money because once I take out my money, then there's going to be 20 people around me. So what I do if I'm on Govardhan Parikram, then I wait till when I'm walking, then when there's no one around and I see a sadhu, then I give the sadhu some donation. No, I do it so you have to perhaps choose the place and the circumstance where you may give the donation. Perhaps don't give it in a passionate environment where you're being, because it's not good, it's not nice, where you're being harassed, you know. And there are some, I mean, there's one place I was on Govardhan Parikram and we went into the internal path a little bit. And there's a beautiful little ashram there, well maintained, very clean. And the devotee was there who was looking after that specific area. And he didn't come. He was very self-satisfied, didn't come demanding money, demanding donations, you know. And so I felt inspired to give a donation. Yeah, so it's only natural the way you're feeling, Mother, from Ari Priya, you know, so don't feel bad about it. It's not good the way that sometimes temples or especially, yeah, temples are run sometimes. Because sometimes they are just dependent upon the actual donations from the pilgrims to actually feed their families. So it gets very complicated, it gets very intense. So I tend to choose myself, I tend to be a little bit careful where I might give donations. Anyway, anybody else, any comments on this from their experience
Can
being?
I add a little bit, Robo?
Yeah,
What I want to say, women's ladies, donation is work or service. Women should never donate money because money belongs to
right.
men, and
Oh,
man can
well,
donate. Yeah, if husband tells wife, okay, donate, then it's perfectly fine. But if woman is single, if she's alone or is elderly, this is a crime. This is a sin to ask her to donate money, because money given by Krishna, when Krishna is considered a husband and he gives her to Krishna, woman has to donate only service. Only service or yeah, something work
There you
or
go.
prayers, because my donation is my presence. Woman's donation is her presence. That's it. It's anywhere, any religion. There is no. If you look in Vedic texts, you could never see that woman was donating land, wealth, money, or something. No, she can donate fruits. She can donate her handwork. She can donate her time. She can donate her words. That's it. This is a crime. So that's what I can say. Sorry, I have to run because I have another class now at
Oh,
7.
thank you, Mama Jumbo. So Mama Jumbo, I've just taken this into Sri Dharma. Yeah. So quite deep subject. So that's something to think about, Mother Kumari. You have to um, tell your husband that he's got to give he's got to give all the donations. The Sri Dharma, you know. So I guess in a Krishna conscious setting, in the Krishna conscious environment, it might be a bit different. But it's interesting to hear about the culture. Yeah. So
What I normally do is when I go on parikrams and children are around, they come back, give me. You just say chant. You don't say anything. You chant you just keep chanting on your beads and don't say anything. You ask them to chant every now and then if they're still behind you.
yeah,
Wherever I go, I just chant. I don't answer back. I don't look. I just don't do anything.
yeah.
Where it's going to be spent, wherever I have to go. Like I do Food for Life. So I'll do like Govardhan Puja Day. So I sponsor the feast for all the children in the school, something like that. So I kind of do big thing like that. Then I don't deal with going on parikrams and deal with kids and
Okay, so that's good advice from Mother Chandravali. Okay, from her experience. So she's going to give donations to sponsor feasts or etc. Give it to someone where the money's going to go. It's not like on the fly walking through a village and giving here and there, you know. So that's something to think about, Mother Kumari Priya.
because your consciousness gets spoiled when you're on the parikram. You're trying to think about the parikram and trying to listen to the stories, what's happening where, and these kids are following you because you started giving a sweet or something, So just say chant, and you just carry on walking.
Yeah, so but then you can give your donation to a temple and sponsor Prashadam and things like that. So that's the best, that's very good advice. It's the best place, best way to perhaps to give. I know, I remember one time, I mean, sometimes they're very expert. I mean, one time I was staying overnight in one hotel just to catch a flight the next day, and I went to get something to eat. And this young girl, she must have been 13 years old or something. Then I came out the hotel and she just grabbed hold of me. And I grabbed hold of my hand and she, Maharaj, 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 Maharaj. And she was walking about 10 minutes. I couldn't get rid of her. So I thought, okay, I got to get rid of this little girl. But then I went into a shop. Okay, then I stayed in the shop for 10 minutes, just to, and I came out the shop and she was there waiting for me. So anyway, I gave her a donation just to so sometimes they're very expert like that. But anyway, back to the main point that I think Mother Chandravali is saying. That's best way and time, place to give. I guess we could say giving in a mode of goodness, so don't give it environment, I guess connecting to what we're speaking about here. Don't give it in a mode of passion. Don't give it in a passionate environment where you're being demanded. That's a sign for me that you don't give donation. If they're demanding money from you, then don't give donation, but give it to a reputable person or, the temple, someone who's in charge of a temple and they're going to sponsor a feast for the brahmacharis, like that.
Mm.
Anybody else, any advice on this? Giving in a mode of goodness in a holy Dham, giving charity in a mode of goodness.
Also, I take, like say our Krishna Balaram Temple, I just take blue tack, pins, saffron, all sorts of things like that. I just take. I just don't believe in giving just Lakshmi. You don't know where it's going to be spent, how they're going to spend it, what they're going to do. Just take things and you just give it to the head pujari or something, a bag full of the goodies.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
All right, there's some, I hope that helps Mother Kamali Priya. Next time we go to India, it's okay to feel bad because it's not good when they harass you for donations. So perhaps give it in a different manner, in a different way.
I mean, I like to give it always in like food items, like ghee, honey, things like that. But obviously, you can't carry it enough in a luggage,
Yeah.
probably. But my only worry is like even for Govardhan Parikrama, when first time I did was similar situation, but now what a lot of devotees brings a lot of sweets and we just give like
that's
small
what we can
sweets.
do.
That's really
Yeah.
nice. But my only like worry is, when you're in a temple, when you're trying to like have a darshan, it's just disturbance of your mind sometimes. Like you feel like some like with connection and then something like just happens. That's the only thing. And I guess it's best way is just to chant while you're doing it. So it's like so your mind don't get distracted too much. Because obviously it's a special place and you don't want to lose that moment. That's my only worry.
Yeah, that's it. Because often temples are going to be crowded, and when there's a crowd, there's can be go passionate, there's pushing and shoving, and then this happening and that happening. So yeah, so I think
Somebody said something really nice to me. I was asking a question and they said, just always remember your goal.
what are your goal?
Remember your goal. So you come to that, you've gone all the way to Vrindavan and to Parikrams and all that. What's your goal? So don't get carried away with, I go there, I give some donation. So that means you collecting piety. I give donation, I'll do this, I'll do that, But your goal is to develop Krishna Prema, and you just concentrate on your goal, start not thinking about sidetrack things,
Yeah. Yeah, so also I think Kumari Priya has mentioned about just the sometimes in I guess in Vrindavan it must be sometimes very busy even in the Krishna Balaram temple and how but just try and keep in mind that it's all very ecstatic. It's all it can be if you try and sometimes the experiences can be you have to kind of expect it and it's part of taking darshan of the Lord that taking darshan of the Lord is not very easy. So sometimes you got to get pushed and shoved, and that helps to make us humble as well. Sometimes,
Yeah.
we're especially in the West, we've got quite a lot of false ego about the body. No one can push us, no one can touch us. But go to India in a temple, you get pushed and shoved everywhere. It doesn't matter who you think you are, you're going to get pushed and shoved. So often, I mean, it's good. It makes me humble. Who do I think I am? You
You
so
just see the devotion in them.
yeah.
Well, to try and look. Then you remember that my lady who climbed on Lord Chaitanya's darshan. So you remember, their devotion. They might just the local people or something. Well, look, they've got up so early, come from Mangalarti, they're pushing, shoving, and you just come all nicely from London, dressed well, whatever, Just look at their devotion. You have to change your consciousness,
Yeah.
They push you from behind, they push you from side. That's fine, no problem,
Yeah, that's what I do in my poor myself when there's thousands of people in the temple, and then I just appreciate it. I appreciate it, I think, wow, look at this, there's thousands of people here come to Mangaladi.
Mm.
Oh, And it's really can be quite good because no matter where you stand, sometimes you try and find a place to stand where there's no one going to walk past you or brush or push you this way. But no matter where you stand, someone's going to push. So it's good for the false ego.
Yeah. And I feel that like Krishna is so kind. Radharani is so kind for you. People say, oh, it's Kartik, it's too busy, this, that, I don't want to go. But the mercy is there if you just decide, yeah, I want to go. It doesn't matter what's going to come my way, but I want to go, you know?
Yeah.
It's all the arrangements for you.
Yeah, this is nice. So I'm going to go. I'm going to get the mercy. Yeah, there's a nice mentality.
Yeah, you need to. You're not going to like there for eating pizzas and living in a luxury place and
Mhm.
go to Govindas or MVT or whatever. You just live a simple life and do your sadhana and that's it.
Yeah, Mother Chandravali is often visitor to Raj. She does bhajan there. Okay, Kumari Priya, a lot to think about there.
Yeah, thank you so much. I think Kartik is the best time. Even
Yeah.
if it's crowded, it's like a magic when you can go and offer lamps. It's just special. Like, yeah. I
Special.
always amazed as well how once in Mayapur on festival, and there was a queue for prasadam, and that queue probably 3-4 hours you have to stand. And I was amazed how the Indian Matajis were standing there for hours just to get it. I was like, haven't got that patience. But some devotees, they are really like so patient and so tolerant, really inspires you.
Yes.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Okay, let's pause there and we'll continue with text 17, I think. Yeah, text 17. And Wednesday, for those who like to join us, we will be reading Brihat Bhagavatamrita. Had to miss last week because we're doing Pujari training and assessments, but this Wednesday, please join us if you can. Okay, thank you, everyone.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhupada ki jai, Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Nitya Gauda Premarandi, Hari Bo,
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare